What's up? My name is Eric Butler. This channel is called Report and Opine. I am back, and from NBC News, as Ukraine's LGBTQ soldiers fight on the front line, acceptance grows in the conservative country. So first off, we know that nearly the entirety of the mainstream media cannot stand conservatives. They can't even pretend not to at this particular point in time, so I don't know why they care so much about what's happening in Ukraine while we're constantly funneling them money to this big, mean conservative country. And secondly, I don't know if I want T's fighting for my country because clearly they are mentally unstable, but that's not the point here. The greater visibility of gay and lesbian military personnel appears to be a catalyst for acceptance in wider society, and opinion polls show attitudes are changing. So it wasn't that long ago that Ukraine was clearly one of the most corrupt countries in the entire nation. There's loads of headline collages floating around social media right now. Then Joe Biden strong arms them. Then they were the cause of the first Trump impeachment attempt after many years of Russia nonsense. So something's not adding up, but I guess it all makes sense if you just don't think about it. And now, as we're constantly sending them money, funneling them money while we leave millions, if not billions of dollars worth of military equipment in Afghanistan, we have to continue to send them money to protect their border while ours is in complete shambles, even though the entire thing is very clearly, allegedly, a global elite money laundering scam. And on top of all of that, you're now supposed to feel sorry for their alphabet community? I mean, give me a break, bro. I was born at night, but it wasn't last night. They say, on a riotous Instagram profile featuring pole dancing, cross-dressing, and fierce makeup, a picture of Ivan Hansky in high heels and stockings next to an image of him in a military uniform has gotten the most likes by far. Okay, so a weird dude cross-dressing, as you know, a weird soldier cross-dressing is the most popular thing going there. So naturally, right? So a few years ago, they were the most corrupt country in the world, one of the most corrupt countries in the world. And then they were the cause of a Trump impeachment. Now they're the good guys, and we have to give them all of our money, and they're extra good because now they're extra gay. I mean, none of this makes any sense. The junior sergeant's posts are a bold statement in socially conservative Ukraine, where pride parades were often attacked before the war, and swaths of the country are occupied by forces loyal to Russia, one of the world's most conspicuously homophobic states, of course. So there's another shot at Russia because we know Russia man bad. Russia man has kind of taken the place of Donald. I mean, they still hate Donald Trump to the core for no apparent reason, right? We can hear 5-6 minute compilation clips of rappers praising him, 15 seasons on The Apprentice, but that doesn't matter. He's a racist. He's a big mean guy. But now Russia is sort of taking that place, like Russia man bad. We don't even know why, and we don't have to explain it because you're too stupid to understand anyways. But as more members of the LGBTQ community fight on the front line, the greater visibility of gay and lesbian military personnel appears to be a catalyst for acceptance in wider society, and opinion polls show attitudes are changing. Hansky, 27, said his uncompromising self-expression combined with his work in places like Bakhmut, the city in eastern Ukraine that has seen some of the bloodiest battles of the war while serving as a potent symbol for the country's defiance, is helping to further the cause of LGBTQ rights faster than any pride marches could. Yeah, I'll bet. This is all absolute nonsense. And right, didn't we hear that I forget the gentleman's name who was leaking stuff about Ukraine that was basically saying it was all fake, allegedly, which we knew. It's all kind of state the obvious stuff. We all, okay, not all, but most of us know it's a scam. It's only the same people that got, 4 or 5 booster shots in them blindly without thinking about it for one split second, who constantly will hop on every single current thing. They're the ones with, 4 Band-Aids on the arm and a little Ukraine flag in the bio, still to this day, posted in the Black Square a couple years ago. I don't understand how people don't see it at this particular point. It's so obvious. They're smacking you in the face, but I guess that's what happens, right? They make it so obvious, so blatant that it couldn't be corruption. That would be on the news, right? It continues. My fellow soldiers are really impressed with what I've done. The massive scale of work that I did here. Yeah, now he's praising himself. He's patting himself on the back. Plenty of other gay and lesbian. So I'm wondering, though, are they going to mention the T's? Plenty of other gay and lesbian soldiers have also produced photos and videos of themselves online, some sporting unicorn insignia on their uniform, the mythical creature, an ironic whatever. This is nonsense. I don't even know what this guy's patting himself on the back for how much good work he did, and there's so many other. So it makes perfect sense. They're setting this up because the country that was the villain, that was one of the most corrupt in the world, is now this beacon of hope and progressiveness with all their LGBT BBQ stuff. It's ridiculous. In the U.S., lesbian, gay, and bisexual people were allowed to serve openly in the military. Only in late 2011, Ukraine's armed forces did not have rules preventing the LGBTQ community from serving, but homophobia was rife in the ranks. Okay, says who? Says who? They were allowed to serve, so what homophobia? I mean, they just constantly have to play this victim card. But in apparent recognition of their service, Ukrainian lawmakers recently tabled draft legislation that would recognize same-sex relationships and address the lack of inheritance, medical, and other rights for the partners of LGBTQ soldiers killed or wounded. This is ridiculous. The parades and pride events were not enough. Yeah, that's why we have them once a month here, basically. It's ridiculous. You have June, obviously, then you have October, and then San Francisco has their own Tea People Month. It's absolutely ridiculous. It never stops. It never stops. And, of course, we all know that their heels are far too dug in to say, all right, maybe we went a little bit too hard on this. Maybe we shouldn't be pushing it on the kids. Maybe we shouldn't be having drag shows at elementary school assemblies. They can't because, like I said, either way you slice it, if they were incompetent and they went a little too hard, they're still too proud to admit that they were wrong. But more likely they are evil and going on with the agenda and they know exactly what they're doing. So either way, there's no going back now. Across the border, President Vladimir Putin has maintained that he launched the invasion in February 2022 to protect Russian-speaking people in Ukraine's east. And look, I don't know enough about Vladimir Putin, but I know enough about the lying media to assume that he's probably not as bad as they're saying he is. It's just a fact. They've ruined their credibility. Across the spectrum, from CNN to Fox and everything in between, they have completely ruined their credibility. Nobody can be trusted because they're pretending that they're not humans and that they somehow have this omnipotence that you just don't, and they're the ones going to give you the information, like Chris Cuomo said back during the Hillary emails, I believe. It's illegal to possess these, so everything you learn from this is from us. It's all absolutely ridiculous. Putin has frequently espoused traditional values. They put that in quotes, like traditional values. Like, I mean, why would anybody want traditional values? That's weirdo Russian right-wing conspiracy tinfoil hat stuff. Traditional values in quotes. I mean, give it a rest, guys. Like, not everybody is going to agree with you. And that used to be okay. It wasn't that long ago that was okay. But of course, they hollow out the middle ground of any argument, just like they hollow out the middle class to gain power. Putin has frequently espoused traditional values in his speeches and framed gender transition surgery and same-sex parenting as morally degenerate Western imports. Well, that's a fact, right? I don't know much about Putin, but that's true. So he's already doing better than the fake mainstream media. In December, he signed a law expanding Russia's restrictions on promoting what it calls gay propaganda, in effect of outlawing any public expression of effective, okay? So there you go. There's another weasel word from the media, effectively. So that might not be what's happening. It's just like the don't say gay thing and said nothing, didn't say don't say gay in the bill. They just make it up, and that is enough to make it true, right? Just because one of the establishment weirdo hack shills says something is clearly enough to make it true, and it doesn't get questioned. And if you do question it, especially if you're white, you're going to be sold down the river. Now, they're also going to sell anybody, black, white, Asian, Latino, anybody who doesn't agree with them is going to be sold down the river as harboring white supremacists and bigoted views. It's all absolutely ridiculous and just so predictable at this particular point in time. It would be far more surprising, it would be far more jarring if they just actually came up with an argument and defended one of their positions. And then maybe we could come to the table, but it's not going to happen. We've come too far. Any action considered to be an attempt to promote homosexuality in public online, it could incur a heavy fine. Look, is that a little bit extreme? Perhaps, because it's going to be very hard to prove, but that's exactly what's happening here. That's what we're dealing with every single day. You see it on television. You hear it on commercials, YouTube ads. They're clearly targeting the kids. This entire Mr. Beast thing, right? And everybody's, a lot of people are saying, well, Mr. Beast is put in a hard spot. Sure, he is. But if he were a real man, he's an absolute gajillionaire. He could just say, you know what? Let's not do this anymore. He could. He won't. He's not going to go broke. He's got enough money to last him. I'm sure he played his cards right, knock on wood. But if he really wanted to stand up against something that's clearly damaging to little kids, he could just say very simply, no. But that's a different story, not what this is about. Activists like Edward Reese, 37, non-binary, which is completely made up in the last decade. It's nonsensical. And if you have these people fighting on your front lines, you have a problem. And I'm not saying that because I've been brainwashed by Fox News. I'm saying that because I worked with a bar full of weird non-binary transformer people in Brooklyn, and I promise you, they were not easy to work with. And we're talking about serving drinks and food, not protecting a nation, allegedly. This is ridiculous. Ukraine's sense of its own distinct identity caused many of his countrymen to show more empathy toward their, and this is what they do. They play on this empathy because you're mean if you don't accept us, and that's how they trick people, right? People that see homophobia, transphobia, sexism, racism are Russian values. He said people understand that they don't want to have anything in common with Russia, so that's why. Okay, so yeah, they have successfully labeled normal people as Russian combatants, basically, and morons are saying, well, I don't want anything to do with Russia, so I guess I'll agree that this woman is really a dude or a Ken doll or whatever it is because I don't want to be labeled a Russian. Seems like we've been there before. We've seen something similar before. Reese said he had a tough upbringing and was sent for so-called conversion therapy. Of course, though his big mean parents sent him to conversion therapy. This is the same. Only Russia would do that. Get rid of Russia. And as far as I can tell, look, nobody's perfect. None of these politicians from Donald Trump, Joe Biden, Clarence Thomas, who they're big mad at right now, none of these people are perfect. And that's part of the problem is, right, the media as well. They always pretend that they are not in the realm of human. Like, we just know better. We're going to steer you in the right way. But it's all absolute nonsense. We're all cut from the same cloth, whether you want to agree with that or not. But the point is, they have tricked people into believing that being normal and having, quote, traditional values is a Russian value, is Russian-esque. So they immediately think, well, I can't have that. So I better just accept these weirdos, even though it makes no sense. It goes on like this. Somebody to hate. Okay. Yeah, this is, talk about propaganda. So this alone is what Putin is trying to stop, is this type of propaganda, right? And these people also, they manifest this hate, right? We saw it with BLM, where they will go down the street and harass people and force them to put up a fist and drink beers off their table. And then the couple says, you know what, I don't really like these people. And they say, we knew you hated us. Right? So they manifest this stuff. You push this down our throats. You shove it onto kids. People get angry. And then you say, we knew that you guys were not tolerant. You weren't. Look at this. This is pride for them. This is, we're supposed to applaud this, right? Look, you can wear whatever you want, but let's not pretend that this is going to keep your country safe and everybody's going to really enjoy it. And if they don't, then they're going to be the bigot. It's all absolute nonsense, but it is par for the course in the backwards, bizarre world. So thank you for watching. Please like, comment, share, and of course, subscribe.